On this episode of Cuba Cerita, we mix it up a bit by hosting another type of guest. He is a celebrity master of ceremonies, lovingly known amongst event management circles in KL as the Tony Stark of MCs. He is Shafiq Chulan. A master of ceremonies for over 500 events, Shafiq MCs corporate, protocol and wedding receptions. Someone with the gift of the gab, he is one who is at ease when addressing royalty, ministers, celebrities and even the general public. More importantly, he has developed a successful career driven by personal passion and abilities that stand out above others. So let's watch and listen to Shafiq's stories. Let's understand what's his fix. Shafiq Chulan, what's your why? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to this episode of Cuba Cerita. It's brilliant that we are able to invite guests from all walks of life as we have. And we're trying to segment a bit more to the younger professionals, those yang berjaya masing-masing. So today, we decided to invite someone who has made a career, again, out of passion. In the past, we've had Harith Iskandar, who was from stand-up comedy. We've had, for example, Rodney Michael, who was a professional voiceover. Today, we have a professional master of ceremony. And our guest today is Shafiq Chulan.
Hi, Coach. How are
Welcome
you?
to Cuba Cerita.
I'm actually very nervous.
You shouldn't be. You are the guy behind the microphone all the time.
So sometimes, you get very nervous, even though you're in front of thousands of people. But in front of you, I get so nervous. So, so it's such a pleasure
I
to
think
be
it's
here.
also the audience in the room. But the good thing about today, Shafiq, is that actually, alhamdulillah, almost the entire crew of Cuba Cerita.
Yeah, such a pleasure.
We've had the opportunity of working with you on other assignments. So this is an opportunity for us to get to know you even more. So welcome to Cuba Cerita, and it's a very relaxed conversation.
Yes, it is.
we want to enjoy ourselves, yeah. But to be honest with you, I've watched you and I've come to know you, and we have also found there are a lot of personal connections.
Yes, we did.
Kebetulan, kan?
Yeah.
So, but more importantly, Shafiq, we want to really get to know you as an inspiration also. And as I spoke to you before this, kan, I feel that there are many out there who aspire to pursue their passions. In a way, some of them pursue it professionally also. And I look at you as an example of such. And I think you come from an era where, there are many young, talented people like yourself who desire to do so. And of course, yours is in the area of emceeing. So that's why today maybe we can talk about a bit of this journey. What is it that, motivated you to go down that route? In a way, actually, it's also aligned with our current mini-series theme called Merdeka in Me.
Yeah, that's a fun part as well.
Kan?
Independence, right?
Independence,
Yeah.
freedom, breakthroughs in life that that you can share. All right. But first of all, can we hear a bit about you as a person? I mean, are you a KL boy, or what's your family background like?
I'm more like a Shah Alam boy.
Shah Alam boy, okay.
So
okay.
I grew up there. I was born in PJ actually. So I grew up in Shah Alam throughout my entire life, and then started to pursue electronics engineering in UITM. And then I changed to SEGI to pursue on my communications. Mass comm diploma and degree, and then slowly followed by this job that I have. But I already started emceeing way back during the time that I was doing at UITM. Yeah.
So you've obviously got a very nice voice.
Oh no,
a voice that's very.
I wonder how this sounds like in podcast.
Well, we'll hear after this. But so you obviously went through school. Were you like a debater, or were you like emceeing at school events, or?
I'll be honest, with some people, because maybe I have like friends or anyone who's watching right now, maybe see me on stage and I'm full of confidence and stuff like that. But I never started off wanting to be an MC when I was a kid.
Okay.
Even at school, I wasn't a debater whatsoever. I only tried emceeing a few times in school. I mean, this is like sekolah menengah time, and during that time was like more like macam kena terpaksa or because I was fluent in English more than I am in bahasa. So during that time, macam, okay, you know what, this guy is good at English, and I like to write when I was younger. And he said, okay, maybe he can do things in school lah. So but it was much more like for fun sort of thing, like, or we have like drama punya state punya competition held in our school, so we need someone who can speak English. We have a debate ni, we need someone to speak English. Okay, so then I always volunteer or kena paksa to do it.
And school was?
SMK SAAS.
Oh,
yeah, Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz.
Oh, Shah. That's literally in Shah Alam.
Yeah, Shah Alam, section 2 Shah Alam.
Okay,
Yeah, so I grew up there, and it was an amazing school. I had a lot of good friends there. Yeah. So yeah, it all started, but it wasn't still a breakthrough back then. It was more like I just do it for fun. Yeah. The thing came by. I think we had a conversation earlier. So it came by when I was in UiTM. That was the point. Started off very simple. Was mainly not even for an MC job. It was actually for a technical crew job. We're doing wiring, pasang speakers and stuff like that. And then the boss at that time asked me to use the mic. So this is the funny part. So asked me to use the mic and just test my voice, test the mic sahaja. And it wasn't even for me. The mic was for someone else. So just test the mic. And when I tested, he said that he was surprised. He was like, wow, you actually have a good voice, you know? Why not do this? You know, why not do a MC? But then we call it like broadcasting or something like that. So he was like, never tried it before. So he gave me an offer, say like, okay, and back then I was paid like 50 ringgit a day. I don't know how kids nowadays, I don't know how much you should receive in a day, because I heard like the last time, even, kalau kita kerja kat fast food restaurants, I think they get paid 5 ringgit an hour now. I was laughing, or maybe 8 ringgit, I don't know. But so back then I was paid like 50 ringgit a day to do setups, to dismantle and stuff like that. And then he said, okay, I have a job happening so and so date. If you do it, I'll up your pay. So I said, okay, how much? 75 ringgit.
Wow.
I was like, wow,
50%
yeah,
hike.
10 days is like 750. I was like, wow, you know, as a student, that's amazing. I mean, as a student, seeing 750 bucks, I mean, even for a month, let's say for that 10 days, is still considerably good. And you don't have to rely on your parents. And you say, Dad, you know, I can have a job now, che. But yeah, so from there, it started to escalate. From being, just doing broadcasting, which is, if people are wondering what broadcasting is, basically it's that you're doing announcements at a mall, like if you hear like jualan hebat, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, so
that's you.
Yeah, that was me back then. If you've been to the Curve or back then Pavilion, actually dengan suara-suara ni, it was my voice. Okay, and that was back in 2011. It's very far off. Yeah, 2011. So from then onwards, it became like a my job started to fly when I was doing broadcasting.
Okay.
And then when people pass by, it's just like kebetulan. And rezeki kan, alhamdulillah. Kebetulan they are from event organizers. Like they are event companies. And when they pass by, they will be like, hey, we heard your voice. Do you perhaps do emceeing? And back then, I don't even know what's emceeing. I was like, oh yeah, I do. Actually, never done emceeing before. I do this thing, broadcasting. Okay. And I said, okay, you want to try emceeing? So then I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And obviously, the best part was the pay started to increase. That's when I noticed something. I wanted to be an engineer or a pilot, but then I realized that, hey, the pay started to increase when they offered me 150 ringgit per job.
Per job.
But say per day.
Per day.
Yeah. So back then, per day is not okay. Just for the younger generations right now, yeah. Per day means like 12-hour work. Okay. So it's like quite long. Yeah, and I sanggup tahan because it's 150 ringgit. And then it started to increase to, as time goes by, the pay starts to increase like 450 to 350. And then there was one time, I think that incident I mentioned to you, that I was actually emceeing a roadshow by the roadside, getting noticed by some of the higher ups from Nickelodeon Asia back then.
And you were literally on the road?
Yeah, I was like, that portable microphone, and I have to do from Nokia, I think back then. I was just like putting it there, and I was like, okay, just doing my stuff lah, giving out free Nokia phones and stuff like that. And I got noticed by them. I said, hey, you are very jovial, you're very fun, we're from Nickelodeon, we're from Singapore, and we represent Nickelodeon Asia. Do you want to host our event?
Wow.
And we give you contacts to our event organizer to help you out. And that is when I realized, wow, there's actually more things to do than just emceeing at the roadside. Okay, I agreed, and then we were talking about pricing, and that was even more better. We get about 350 bucks per session, and that is 3 sessions per day.
Wow.
Yeah,
so it's a huge hike.
Yeah, it was a huge hike, a bit difference. So I was like, whoa, by doing 2 times a month, I earn probably similar to someone that's working at that time, that's working in an office or anywhere else. So I said, you know what, this could be a career, but that still didn't motivate me to pursue more.
But at that time, were you ever in a job?
I was still studying.
This is why you're still studying?
I was still studying.
Wow. So in a sense, it was like pocket money lah.
Yeah,
kan?
it was pocket money. But then again, it triggered me like, why am I? I mean, of course, obviously, when you're studying, you want to know what you want to be after you study. Can you want to find jobs and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So I already had because when I was doing, was I was in university, I was already in SEGI. Of course, I met a very notable figure back then. It was Daphne Iking. So I really love how she hosted and stuff like that. But we were talking about this like job thingy, like emceeing and stuff. And she did mention back then. Wait. Before I got into that, kita go into the Nickelodeon part first because it's going to relate back to Daphne again.
Okay.
So what's amazing is that after Nickelodeon, I also got noticed by a person, a very good friend right now of mine, who's also a good friend of mine now. But back then he was a boss. So he called me up and he said, you know what, come to my office. Because he noticed me from one of the Nickelodeon events. He said, come to the office. I have a job for you. So I said, okay. This is when we're doing texting lah. And then I said, okay, when, where, I'll come. So I came to his office, and we were talking about this huge event that was happening. And I was like, I back then I didn't know what huge meant until he started to show me the pay. So I mean, so he was talking about an event, and he was like going about saying that, okay, we have this event, so and so and so, and it's going to be huge, and it's going to be your first huge event. So I'll be like, whoa, I mean, like, okay, how huge is huge? And he's like, well, we're gonna have celebrities like Daphne's gonna be there. We're gonna have like Tun Musa is gonna be there. Back then it was a really, really old time, and there's gonna be like so many other individuals that's gonna be there. And when I heard the name of the artist, I was like, oh. And back then even Jananik was, I don't know if you know Jananik. She's an artist right now.
Okay.
Back then she baru
coming out lah.
Baru coming out by that time. So she said there was a new artist who's gonna come up there. Jananik will be there as well. So I was like, wow. Okay, I'm just gonna go there and sorry, it's not Jananik, sorry, it was Elizabeth Tan.
Elizabeth Tan.
My bad.
Okay.
Jananik did her wedding, so sorry. So, Elizabeth Tan. So yeah, and then was just baru naik, and then it's like, oh, this is gonna be a huge wedding, and you're gonna be one of the panel MCs for that event. So I was like, wow, okay.
And what was the event?
And the event is the LPGA tournament.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, back then.
Wow.
And KLGCC.
The international event.
It's an international event. Was getting on par with a lot of other MCs as well back then. And I was still like the really small one there. But then again, I was like, okay, I mean, I love challenges. That's one thing about me when I do things. As an MC, there is no the benefit of saying no. Because once you say no, you lose opportunity.
Right.
So that's the fundamentals about being MC lah. And then what I did was I accepted the job. But before I after that, he mentioned about pay. Okay. So this is the fun part because you don't know your value, right?
Yeah.
So back then, so you'd be like, oh, okay. I mean, how much are you looking forward for this event? So I was calculating based on the Nickelodeon event I did. So I said, since it's a very big event, I tambah sikit, maybe 2,000 ringgit lebih lah. For that 3 days of working with LPGA. And he was looking at it, are you serious? I thought he was going to be mad because maybe I'm overcharging.
It sounds a bit low. 2,000 for the 3 days.
Yeah, and I thought I was overcharging. And then he was like, bro, I'm going to offer you this price. You decide. And
he was pulling your leg lah.
I was my man. And then he was like, okay, I was like, okay, I'm just nervous now. Okay, am I charging too high? Should I go lower, like 1,008? That kind of thing. I wasn't thinking about going as well. I remember jenis macam, okay, if I can't do that price, I'm willing to sacrifice the amount of money to get experience. And he was like, we're gonna start with your first 5 figures.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I went down my seat, but like, sorry, what did you say again? 5 figures, 3 days, 12,000. And I was like, no. I looked at him directly in the eye. I said, no, I can't do that. I'm not on that level. I don't believe I deserve that amount of money. I said, can we lower it down? And he was looking at me like, I'm giving you money and you want to lower it down? Okay, so how much are you looking
Have
for?
I got the right guy?
Yeah, he said, betul ke money? So I said, then he said, okay, he decided to downgrade the price to the point macam 8,000. I'm
Oh, he
still
did?
tak comfortable. Yeah, he did.
So he literally did take what you wanted and
Yeah, I mean, it's good for on his side, dapat untung, but it lowered to a point where it became, and he was like, you take the money or leave it. That kind of thing. He was like, he yang marah. I said, kita nak bagi kau job, and we want to give you a good price,
we're throwing
good
money
money,
at
and
you.
we're throwing money at you, and you don't want to take the job. And it's like, and he said that because, and the reason he said that, back then there were so many other MCs that were very talented and very very hebat MCs, and maybe some of them pun dah tak ada dah, and tak ada in our world right now. And he was like, he wanted to try something really fresh, and hence why the offer of that amount. And then I was like, okay, and then when he offered the last part, I was like, take it or leave it. I was like, okay. I just took the amount lah.
we better not ask what was the final
Yeah, I mean, it was
going to be mad.
It was definitely very very loaded. Yeah, people would be like, what?
But anyway, I mean, maybe in a way it reflects on the principles.
Yeah.
Your principles. Again, we always learn from in hindsight. Today,
Yeah.
that may be small money relative, right? But obviously, at the very start, you had these principles that, number one, maybe you're not just in it for the money.
Yeah.
I mean, you wanted to really just get out there, and and this was certainly a big feather in your cap as an MC. But so, did you ever actually go into a job somewhere where you'll be working?
I
somewhere?
actually only managed to go. I didn't actually work, but I interned because I was
You
part of the mass
interned
council.
somewhere.
So I
Okay.
interned in. So now that comes back to that question with Daphne.
Okay.
So I interned in a broadcasting punya place, and so it was of course the number one back then. For in Malaysia, I don't know sebut nama kot. So I interned.
It's either Media Prima or
Oh, that's right. So yeah,
So,
Media
okay.
Prima.
Media Prima. Okay.
So I was doing for a show called Bella back then.
Okay.
Amazing bosses, amazing people that I've met along the line. I've met Daphne there, and at one point of time, I was still doubting myself whether I should pursue emceeing as a full-time job or work and do it for part-time, because it still pays good, right? And Daphne came. Oh, sorry, and I also had the thought of, hey, I might want to do TV hosting. So and then
What about generally as a voice talent?
also
radio and
I
TV
also got
commercials?
called for voice talent. I actually do that as well.
Oh, you do today?
Yeah. Till
Alright.
this day, I do
Okay,
voice talent,
okay, okay.
voiceovers and stuff. But then back then, it was more like, should I do this or not? That kind of thing, because I don't know how stable it is. Because some back then wasn't like how I'm doing right now.
Okay.
How successful it is right now.
Yeah.
Back then was like, maybe I can get a job a month. Maybe I can't get a job for next 3 months.
Okay.
Because I didn't have a good profile, I
Right.
wasn't well exposed.
Starting
So
out now.
I need to get out there and make sure that companies see me in order for me to get jobs. So it was a job basis kind of thing. I wasn't. Yes, I totally agree with a lot of people back then because it wasn't a stable job. But then again, when I was trying to think this over, Daphne gave me a really good quote. He said, "Daphne, I really want to be a host." But I'm not too sure, I want to be a TV host. And said, then she noticed me from back then, so I was doing emceeing. So she said that, why not just do emceeing? It pays well. Just go for it,
and focus on that.
and just focus on that. You'll
And
get
build-
there.
build the name.
And when she said that, I was like, okay, it might work. It might work in a way. So when I got that motivation from her, and I said, okay, I'm just going to pursue this. But I also got a lot of backlash when I started to nail it down and say that, okay, I'm just going to be an MC. I'm going to push everything aside, like from engineering, pilot, whatever aside, do this full time.
How young were you then?
24?
24. So
23,
so,
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you even as a young student, you already had those opportunities
Oh, yeah.
come your way, and then you obviously landed some big roles, which gave you the confidence.
That-
So you finished your studies.
Yeah, I did.
You finished your studies, and you.
The funny part was
Ah.
because I also got another quote. I can't remember which person that gave me this quote. He said that whenever you want to do something, reflect in at minimum 5 years to 10 years. So that got me thinking, what am I supposed to be in the next 10 years?
Okay.
Yeah, hence why the job selection thing, and I was very nervous and also very anxious at the same time.
Okay.
Because I was so feeling insecure with my future.
Okay.
So in 10 years time, what am I
It's
supposed
a
to
long
do?
horizon to
Yeah,
think about,
it's long-
especially from such a young age.
So 5 years to 10 years. At the
Yeah.
maximum, I have to, at minimum 5 years, at maximum 10 years, I need to know what I want to do in the next 10 years. Even till now, I always plan 10 years ahead.
So have you always been? Oh, that's an interesting
Yeah.
point, because it's important to understand
Yeah.
you as this person. So have you always been, even maybe from a younger age, someone who looks forward in anticipation?
Yeah, I always
Okay.
till this day.
Okay.
Only things I can't anticipate, like who I'm going to get married to. Yeah, but in terms of financial and in terms of trying to project something like macam, what should I aim for in the future? I think that's something that I always look into.
Okay.
And in terms of career and in terms of probability of success, I guess. The chances are always very low, kan?
Yeah.
Because we can't predict stuff, right? But I'll take that as a macam.
So you're quite in a way, a bit of a risk taker juga lah.
risk taker and very. It was a big risk.
But you might. What about? I mean, family and
Yeah,
peers
that's
and
where
friends?
the thing really took me a bit off the charts, because not many people supported what I do. Because back then, I don't know, nowadays is you if you're a gamer, you also get acknowledged. If you're an influencer nowadays, you get acknowledged. Basically you do anything that brings you money nowadays gets acknowledged right now. Back then it wasn't like that, kids. It was more like you have to get your parents' approval, and your society views you differently if you work like freelancer. Back then the term freelancer was such a taboo word, because when you say freelancer, people be like, oh my god, this guy macam it's not gonna be successful.
Now they call it gig worker.
Oh, it's not gig workers now. It's gig workers, and if you can call yourself entrepreneurs now.
Yeah.
Che. But then back then, when you say you're a freelancer, or if you're doing emceeing, or even if you're telling you're a musician and everything like that, it depends. If you're an artist, people look up to you, right? But if you're like a musician, people think you're playing at the bar. If you're MC, people think you're jual air liong atau pentas. So people don't really appreciate it back then. So I didn't get the support I needed when I tell some of my family members, some of my friends. I didn't get the support I needed. Most of them will just be like, "Are you serious? You're doing this? No, bro. This is your future we're talking about." But I can highlight a few. One of them is of course, my best friend. Ariel, who's been very supportive back then as well, who said that, you know what, don't believe, don't hear them, if you believe and you say that, in the next 10 years time you can be really successful, go for it.
Yeah.
And then just because of this few individuals, maybe there's 3 or 4 of them, that gave me this support, and I said that I'm just going to do this full time. And when I did it full time, I gave 1,001% of myself. From marketing myself, because back then we didn't have like much social media.
Yeah.
So we had we need to do it like basically go to companies, go to their PR or comms, and directly get their from internet, just get their contacts, especially their email, and just email them my profile. So we had a chance like email like a few, I think about 100 companies, I think.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. But it was a
And
lot.
would these be companies as in clients or event management companies or
Some
agents?
mixture of both.
Mixture.
Yeah. So there were event organizers when we see the internet or whoever that we get along the line. We just I made my first profile using words. It was such a bad one.
What's that?
Yeah, profile. It's like a CV, because by the way, because profile, the emceeing profile and also CVs are very different.
Yeah.
They look
Yeah.
very different. So
Yeah.
so I had like sekolah mana, everything, and then the events that I've did. It was so cute. I mean I can probably show Dan later. Dan show the old one. And that was so fun. So yeah, and then it was like an old CV, and that's what I submitted to them. And basically I didn't have videos because my phone was back then was really bad. So we had pictures of me doing jobs. So it was all pasted. Like it was like a profile of maybe 15 pages, and each page has like 2 gambar in it, that kind of thing. So I sent it over, and alhamdulillah, some of the clients actually approved it, and then you say, hey, this is a new guy in town.
I think there's a certain genuinity about you, lah.
Yeah.
Shafiq. I think I mean, maybe people get to know you, and then I think let me be honest in terms of my experience having professionals like yourself. Sometimes there's a bit of an air about them, but I've so far in my little interaction with you, alhamdulillah, rezeki you lah. It's maybe the person that you are, and which is what maybe those people who saw you on the road. Okay, I mean the risk that they're gonna take is huge, and dah lah you minta gaji kurang pula. What's wrong with this guy? He's too genuine.
Oh my god! I just do things because
it's good
out
lah.
of the heart. I think when I mean nowadays when we are I mean, and we come back to the independence part. Right? It was more of a choice,
Yeah.
right? And I had the choice to do something out of the norms,
Yeah.
and to do it my way. So that was something that really attracted me, that I can do things without having, to worry a lot about macam contoh, people instructing me to do a lot of things. I mean, it would be fine, but I get to do it my own way, my own terms, right? So it was much more fun. Even better that the whole job escalated the way it were, because back then we didn't rely much on social media, kan? So from distributing those things, and then it became more like a word of mouth kind of expenditure for the job. So I get my clients
Yep.
from the job that I do.
Yeah. That's
So-
the best form of reference, actually.
Yeah. So when people come, and then it started to grow, and then I from road shows. I did road shows for a substantial amount of years lah,
Okay.
and a lot of with Celcom as well was one of my main clients back then. TM was my main clients back then. So road shows was my go-to thing. Road shows, concerts, and all this fun stuff. And then it started to go into weddings. And it's because the guy that the first guy I mentioned that
Yes.
offered me the money.
Yes.
He wanted to get married.
Oh,
And
okay.
he asked me to MC his wedding, but I had little experience for a wedding back then. And during that time, what was even more funny is that it was also a big wedding.
A huge
That-
wedding.
yeah, this guy gives me big events, Thanks. And then he wanted to get married, and
he knew he get a good deal, but though.
yeah, probably that was the case. But then he really trusted me. He said that he didn't want to use the norm. He had a lot of celebrity
I
friends.
would imagine.
Yeah, and he still called me to do it. So I said, okay. And that was one of those weddings as well, Daphne. And also another wedding planner back then, also very successful wedding planner right now. I can name her team, Kayangan Gallery. Also offered me to do a huge wedding back then. And kebetulan it was for a friend of mine was getting married. And then so-called she called this wedding planner lah, Kayangan, to do her wedding. And then I got a chance to do that wedding as well. And that was a huge, it was good for my reputation lah, because everyone knew, oh my god, this guy did for Kayangan. Who is this guy? Because Kayangan was a huge thing as well.
Yes.
And then so that's how it escalated lah, basically.
So you've been how many years now since you've really been
2011 till now.
doing this? 2011. So wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's
because
good.
I
It's a
counted
good
the days. I
13
didn't want to
years.
include the ones that are not professionally done.
Yeah.
I basically counted the ones that I received money.
Right.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
would call myself
Fair enough.
2011.
So it's actually a long track record already.
Yeah.
And you're still in your early 30s.
Huh.
Kan? Alhamdulillah.
Huh.
So,
Fellow
so,
cakap.
so think about it now. I mean, are you now still that person who says, or is trying to think, where am I going to be in 5,
Yes.
10 years?
Definitely still same.
Are you willing to share? What do you see
So
yourself?
basically, of course, emceeing is fun and all.
Yes.
But it has its limitation.
Such as?
So we're talking about physical limitations.
Okay, physical, okay.
It's physical limitations because one, of course, your voice strains.
Yeah.
It changes over time,
Okay.
and you damage your voice as well as you work constantly because you're using your vocals every single day. For the viewers' context here today, I MC probably about 15 to 25 events in a month.
Wow.
So yeah. Yeah.
It's like an event a day.
Yeah, I think an event a day. So even only this week is like cuti, next week is going to be crazy again. So yeah, so we get around 15 to 25 events in a month, and it gets even harder when we're talking about physical. So
And these are all physical, like live events.
yes, live events.
So it's
yeah.
not like if you're a voiceover talent.
No,
you're recording
voiceovers are just
somewhere.
like voiceovers is just like macam duit makan extra.
Yeah lah.
I do it for fun, really for fun. I have my own studio at home, so
Okay.
I record everything at home lah.
Okay.
So yeah, so the fun part is that fun part, but the serious part is that health is of issue lah. We're thinking about 5 to 10 years, and also people also tell you that whatever you're doing right now, in 10 years time it will reflect in terms of health. Yeah. So if you are contohnya you are a person that doesn't exercise right now, you probably have a very bad life in the next 10 years. Yeah, probably gonna have a huge impact in the next 10 years. Similarly to emceeing. So you're looking forward, like in next 10 years I might encounter these problems. So some of the things I take very early on is to insure myself. So insure myself in terms of really taking insurance for like disabilities and stuff like that, which I know that is going to happen in the next few years. And then
Can you insure your
no,
voice?
in Malaysia you cannot.
We can't, eh?
You can,
That's
but
why
you can
it's
also,
crossed my
but you
mind.
can insure in the terms of macam if you are disabled.
Yes, yes.
Technically, if you become mute or disabled in terms
Yes.
of, or are unable to work,
Yes.
some insurance providers, they provide that.
Yeah.
So I took that and I placed a lot of money in that. That was the first thing I did.
Very good.
So knowing that physical is my worst punya ni lah. Even if I'm sick or bedridden, I cannot MC definitely. Even sick pun, it's going to be 50-50 if I can work or not. Apatah lagi kalau we have like serious illnesses and everything. So I'm just I'm not gonna promote insurance here, but I'm telling you guys that insurance is really important. Especially to those who are working in freelance. I mean, especially if they're using a lot of physical, and unless you're doing other things, tak apa lah. But if you're related to physical, insurance is quite very important. So I invest heavily on insurance.
Right.
For that, and that's like
Good
first
advice.
thing.
Good advice.
Then what am I going to do in the future? Of course, I'm arming myself right now with a lot of event talent. So as an MC, it's not just we come there and just cakap and balik. We also take note of the surroundings that we have, like amazing event organizers, like the person in front of me right now. So we learn from that as well. So maybe I'm not going to be an event organizer one day, but more towards investing towards it. Like contohnya macam like having event spaces, and what I see right now, and that's my goal right now. I'm like saving up like crazy just for that goal. And finding investors, and right now maybe we can talk that in a later episode, like what to do. There's a future project for it, but then again we'll talk about
this is the thing that I like. What I hear is alhamdulillah, rizki you finding your way into exploring your passions and making a good life, professional career out of it, but not resting on those laurels. Bukan kita nak waspada, and be negative, but realities of life.
Possibilities,
especially at a young age, kan. So that's good. So that's a very sound piece of advice. Kan? Whether they take it in the form of insurance, ke, savings, ke, or even preparing yourself for your next cycle of growth, lah.
So you have to always be cautious about that, in sense, especially for MCs nowadays. I mean, a lot of them are not insured. So I mean, if there are MCs that are watching this, please get yourself insured. Please put some savings in, because people get overwhelmed when they receive certain amount of money. Because pay for MCs are good, relatively good, in a sense, per event basis. Even if they get like 2 or 3 events in a month, it's cukup bagus.
Nice money.
It's good money. It's good money. But then again, they forget when they get some, especially the younger generations. This is the problem that they have when they get big money. They also contribute to big spending. I was in their shoes once upon a time. I got good money. Imagine now, wow, I'm earning like wow, Back then I was like wow. And don't forget to pay your taxes. Sambung satu. And then earning like wow and everything, and then all of a sudden you go like macam spending. I also realized at the point of time where when I spend, and then I'd be like, God. The reason why I did not spend anymore, one, is because I got married. And for the person,
still have to spend in other ways, lah.
I spend it for my wife and my kid. I don't do collections anymore. It's a bit of waste of money right now, lah. Maybe when I'm older, maybe probably boleh lah kot. But now, no, completely no. It's mostly like simpan or spend towards my family, and no longer spending towards myself. Kadang-kadang boleh, but not too much.
The self-discipline, kan?
Self-discipline is huge.
Sound, very, very sound advice. So again, you had these different breakthroughs, and I don't know how it works today. What do you see the advent of AI, pula? Is that something that you guys look at it as something is going to change? For example, does the MC physically need to be there on the stage now?
This is the best part. I had an experience MCing with an AI twice.
MCing with an AI.
So recent event we did with MDEC baru-baru ni. I mean early of the year, I think we had a huge conference for digital and media punya event lah. So they actually brought in this huge hologram box. I don't know if you've seen it before. Now it hasn't been a trend yet in Malaysia. I haven't seen it in any events yet, but for that event, yes, particularly I've seen it for the first time, and it projects like a figure inside. So what they do is they link to ChatGPT, and they just ask the thing to the AI to say whatever it needs to say during the event, pointing out certain information, and it actually hosted on stage.
Serious?
Yeah, and when I was hosting, basically, but there was someone typing lah. So whatever I'm saying, and the AI responded back.
In like with a dialogue or partnering?
Partnering, but it has to have someone to do the thing lah, the programs and codes and so it was technically partnering on stage together with an AI. So I was like, hey, so who are we going to introduce next on stage? Contoh kan, I'll be like, Shafiq, we are going to introduce on stage. Serious? And it was like the first thing that I was like, whoa, this is like the awal-awal punya process, like pilot process. Kan? So I was like, this is possible now?
Yeah.
How is it going to be like in 10 years? So that's also something that gave me a bit of goosebumps, thinking that how fast can AI develop within next span of 10 years? That's also something that I was really thinking about. So are we going to lose our jobs in the next 10 years? Because I'm not saying that the videographers and photographers are losing their job, but AI is doing a splendid job in editing photos. Have you seen the photos nowadays, kan?
Yeah.
It looks surreal, and even I know for some advertisements that we see on board and some online, that they are using 100% AI and no more using talent.
Exactly.
So I was thinking, wow, this is in the next 10 years is going to be something different.
No, even when we spoke to Rodney,
Rodney,
he was talking about he's obviously a voice-over talent.
Yeah.
Commercials and such, but he was saying the same thing. I mean, gone are the days when they rely entirely on physical human voices, and they can get so much variety. They can have all the different dialects and the nuances that is basically wiping out the industry. Or changing the industry.
The only thing AI cannot do right now in terms of creative development is that they cannot mimic the emotional aspect of it. So MCs can convey emotional, but AI cannot. Right? Similar to voiceover talents, they can of course put in a bit of different tones in their thing.
The personal,
the AI cannot.
They can't.
The AI still cannot do that.
But mind you, it will not be long.
That's right. There are programs being done because on a monthly basis, I do a lot of tech related events, so I can see that progression coming through and stuff like that, and it's really, really scary. But then again, till they can do that, then we probably need to really, really be worried. So get prep on your savings, invest a lot. That's all.
Do you see yourself, how do I say, ever going into the workforce in another capacity, or are you seeing yourself going to be an entrepreneur stroke self-employed?
It'll be entrepreneur stroke self-employed. But if I were to have a choice of being absorbed into a company, I would probably get more into the comms section of it, because since my PR is a bit more huge right now, okay? So I think that would be the side that I would like to work into lah. So any companies would like to hire me for fun,
But actually, it's actually a very interesting viewpoint, because I somehow rather observe, I mean, irrespective of which industry sector, but I observe that those who have already gone into, doing what they want to do through their own passions and their own willpower and ability, it's very hard to be going into a confined environment.
Yes, that is very true. And that's the reason for it.
And I think it's and again, success, ability is not measured always by monetary returns. And I know there are many out there who are within the confines of an organization, for example, who yearn to maybe make a break and go out and do something that they wish they could just go out and do. But there are these inhibitions at the back of the mind, and everyone is for himself. We can't disregard that feeling also. And there are certain reasons why people choose to do certain things. But I think, for example, if one were to maybe come from a corporate environment, go out and do something on your own, it will be very difficult to return.
It is very. I mean, once you go out, it's probably very hard for you to return. And when people work with passion, they genuinely do. Like when we work, we don't complain. We enjoy what we do, and literally have fun. Because I mean, that's the whole point. The whole point about working on your own is basically to move out from stress. There is stress, but I call it positive stress. Work is always a positive stress for me because it's my passion. I love to do it. So, and it becomes a challenge as well. And I love challenges as well. So it's a good stress. But if you were to talk about from us going to confined environments or workspaces, is going to be very hard for us.
I think it's many factors.
There's a lot of factors.
I think that itself is an entire episode.
But definitely itself is going to be entire. But to those who wants to pursue emceeing or any sort of thing, because we're talking in general right here, a lot of people are jumping into app development and stuff like that. There's a lot of freelance thingies that's going to happen right now. I mean, if you have the confidence and belief, because I'm just going to tell them that you are going to fail. The first time you're going to fail.
Or you're going to go through something.
I failed so many times in the past. I can't remember how many times I get banned from events when I was younger because I failed to do it. I mispronounced names. I failed, and I've never given up. That's one thing that I can tell about myself. And that same goes to you. If you're thinking that when you're going out and you're going to be successful immediately, as let's say you're going to develop an app, you say that your app is going to be the number one app in Malaysia, or a unicorn app or whatsoever, it's not going to happen. It is going to fail a few times.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's different. And one thing also I noticed about your profile, and I know of you, actually, you are able to command different types of audiences.
Yeah.
Just now you mentioned about pronunciation, and I think, for example, you host royal events involving
royalties and
royalty,
stuff,
dignitaries.
Yeah.
Kan? So I think that is a niche also that you have developed. So would it be fair to also say that one thing that you need to do also is to stand out from others, develop your niche, and continue to develop that, kan? Rather than just say, oh, I'm an MC in general.
I've got a good example for that as well, because, for example, we have MC classes, not by me, maybe for some renowned MCs in Malaysia. Okay, and maybe hundreds of people join in for that class. And they develop the same skill because they are taught the same way, right? So when they come out, the problem with this is that, okay, we have 100 new MCs or current MCs, and all of this possess similar skills, and then probably the market gets even more worse for them. Saturated and stuff, because they produce the same thing. They don't want to go out of the box. They feel like this MC's method is more suitable for them, so they're going to use it, and it becomes like a copy thing. So we have like 100 same copies, and for a very small and very saturated market. So they really have to get out the box and to try out something new or do something different, because it's a very competitive market. I can tell you, even though there's a very I can say small number of MCs in Asia, about 5,000 probably around there, based on the group that we have.
5,000.
Yeah, I think around there, plus
That's
minus.
quite a
And this is
sizable
not
number.
including those there are probably some doing full time, some doing part time, some doing for fun, some like a one off thing, like maybe adik dia kahwin and then MC ke apa kan. Yeah, probably that. But the main one, the professionals are probably around there lah. But it gets hard for them to get jobs, is because they do the same thing as other people do, right? So they do what other people MC. Yang ini buat, let's say for weddings, a very good example, like weddings bahasa Malaysia, everyone's the same thing, same way.
Following
You
the
can
same
say that
script.
this MC, kalau kita go into the lower end markets or medium range kan, these people would do the same way as the other people would do. So if they are comfortable with the pay, it's fine.
Yeah.
If they want to go up and beyond, no. They have to open up skill. Yeah.
So from what I gather from you, you are hopefully, inshallah, one of the higher end caliber MCs. I hope you're not, and I know you're not one of those MCs who says, you guys, please don't be that.
Hopefully tak pernah lagi.
No,
Unless there are clients that
I'm just
request
teasing
that, so okay.
Well, Shafiq, by the way, the brand name is Shafiq Fixz.
It's actually, people call me Shafiq, but then again, I use my brand name Fixz Chulan.
Fixz Chulan.
Yeah,
Fixz
so
Chulan,
this
sorry.
is a name that my uncle gave me during school, because I represented Malaysia back then for paintball.
Serious?
Yeah. I was the youngest paintballer back then. That was like 2015, I think.
Oh.
So 2014 actually. Yeah, so I was like the youngest paintballer that entered the competitive scene. I was featured in the paper. So then my uncle said, "You need a name, you know."
So it became Fixz Chulan.
He gave me Fixz Chulan with the exact spelling Fixz. I didn't know back then why, but then I just took it, and then I melekatkan nama tu sampai sekarang lah. And thanks to my
it's a nice brand name to carry
He
around.
gave me that name, so used it till this day. And but then I didn't want to get people confused, so I used Fixz Chulan. Yeah, bringing my dad's name as well. But for formalities, for formal events, I cannot use. I mean, it's inappropriate to use the word fix. So contohnya macam you have Majlis Raja-Raja punya. Yeah, you go like izinkan Patik memohon perkenan tuanku untuk mempersembahkan diri Patik kan as Fixz Chulan. I was like, so I call myself Shafiq Chulan for mostly kalau Malay events, Malay speaking events ataupun formal events. Yeah, so I give my name Shafiq Chulan, so better. Fixz Chulan. Tuanku pandang macam apa ni?
Okay, so Shafiq Fixz Chulan.
Yeah, easy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining
so
us.
much. I'm really happy to be able to share.
It's a pleasure. I'm meeting you for the first time actually in person. Heard so much about you. But it's been a pleasure having you, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Who knows,
Coach.
one day we may even partner in the podcast.
Oh, please. I would love that. You know, I'm always inspired to see podcast is really fun. So
It is. And you certainly have the caliber and talent to do so.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
But anyway, wish you all the best. Continue to inspire others and excel in what you do. And thank you once again for joining us on Cuba Cerita.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
A pleasure. Bye.
So, here we are. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure you did. And, there are many corporate members who are in our audience. So, now you've been introduced to this young talent, Shafiq Fixz Chulan, or, you find him now in the market very, very easily. So, please feel free to engage with him, and I'm sure that you get your good value out of his talents. And on behalf of Cuba Cerita, thank you once again for joining us. Please continue to support us through subscriptions and comments, and let's look forward to seeing you again in our next episode. Till then, Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera, have a very good week ahead. Terima kasih.